Don't let that fear of conflict prevent clarity. And I wanted to put this directly right after the last video, because that's what the podcast topic was. Right before this video is on fear of conflict and confrontation. When you resist this, okay, and go back there, you'll really understand it. It goes deeper into it about it being insecure, fear of abandonment, fear of rejection. Cool. Okay, we understand that. You can go back and you can really extrapolate that for you. But you're not going to have clarity. Okay, so if you're walking around and you want clarity on something, you're going to have to ask for that clarity. The problem is you get up here in your head and you're like, yeah, I know exactly what they meant by that. You don't, because you didn't ask. Okay, and a lot of people that you may run into are going to be very passive aggressive anyway if they are not in a space of confidence, and they're just going to be a little passive aggressive. So you may assume that backhanded compliment was like about you, or they were doing a dig, or then you start assuming that a post on social media is a vague post about you, but you're not establishing clarity. And sometimes, now listen, sometimes when you ask for clarity, people are going to be like, oh my God, I don't know what to tell that person, because maybe they were trying to manipulate the situation. But honestly, sometimes people don't even realize that maybe the way it came across was not good or problematic or whatever the case may be. But it's so important that you ask for clarity. This could be at work. Okay, you ask for clarity. Do you want me to work on this project or this project? I'll give you clarity versus assumption. We're going to use work for an example. All right. The boss, whoever the boss is, gives you a project and says, hey, on Tuesday, gives you a project, says, oh my gosh, this is so important. It has to be done by Friday. You're like, okay, it's fine. I'll work on it. So you're working on it. And Wednesday afternoon, 4:00 comes. Hey, they call you in the office. Hey, I really need this project done by Friday. Now, in your head, if you are afraid of conflict or you don't have the clarity on which one's important, you are going to drive yourself into the ground. You're going to be like, okay, well, I don't know how I'm supposed to get both these done. I guess I'm going to work and burn the candle on both ends. And why would he give me this? And he's always giving me this. And these people aren't. Okay, stop. You're doing that to yourself. You ask for clarity in a way it would look something similar to this. He comes to you Wednesday, 4:00, and he says to you, hey, I need this project by Friday, right? Whatever the case may be. And then what you do is you say, hey, okay, I just need a little clarity on something. So yesterday you gave me whatever the Coca-Cola project. And today you gave me the Sprite project. And I know that you mentioned that both are really important and they're due by Friday. I am not going to be able to give you both of those by Friday. And I just need to know which one you need done first and which one is the most important. Like, you got to be able to speak up, right? If you can't do it, you can't do it. What you're not going to do is have that fear of confrontation. Then you have no clarity in general. So you need to clarify. Hey, well, what do you mean by that? Hey, I don't know if I understood that correctly. Can you please give me clarification? Until you are willing to ask for the clarification, you will be left with your assumptions. Now, if you're left with your assumptions, then you're left in your head, because if you have a fear of conflict, typically you are a pessimistic thinker. So you're overthinking it. You're assuming that somebody's saying something, or you don't want them to dislike you, or yada, yada, yada. The list is endless. Okay. This is where that becomes problematic. So this is why you got to ask for clarity. If in fact, maybe they don't like that you ask for clarity, so what? You got to understand that not everything is going to be combative, but to be honest with you, sometimes somebody's going to get a little offended, or they're going to not know how to respond to it, and they might be a little short. And then that's when you would inflict a boundary by saying, hey, I don't allow myself to be spoken to that way. And if it continues, I'm going to walk away, or I'm going to hang up the phone, or I'm going to go to the next level. If this, then this. So your fear of conflict prevents the boundary establishing, and it also prevents the clarity. Because quite honestly, if you're left to your own thought and then you're in a spiral, and maybe you have anxiety, maybe you, like I said, are a pessimistic thinker, maybe you're an overthinker, maybe you are still dealing with low self-esteem. So everything is negative. You don't want somebody to think you're stupid. You don't want somebody to think that you're inept, but you're not giving clarity, and you're not providing clarity to them. It's not even the clarity back to you. You're not providing clarity to them. People cannot read your mind. So don't assume just because you do A, they're going to do A, or just because you say 1, 2, 3, and you know what it is that you're doing, that they're supposed to. And then you're getting in your feelings because you didn't clarify what it is that you need from them. So to have clarity is going to help you in that confrontation, because you can't be worried about how that person is going to respond, just like they can't be worried about how it's going to be responsive to you. And then ask yourself, if I didn't know what it is that I'm asking for, if I didn't know that, what kind of information would I need to understand it? You want to make it to where you could give me, let's say you're in banking, okay? And you have to rectify these numbers by the end of the week all the time. Okay, you don't necessarily need an accounting background. I would want you to tell me word by word, like every little step. So me, a lay person who doesn't really know a lot about what it is that you need to do, could come in, could turn the page, could read it, could understand it, and could make it effective. If you don't want to do that and then you're upset with somebody, that's a you issue. And that's a them issue if they expect the same. They may not understand that. On your healing journey, unfortunately, you're kind of always going to have to be the person to sort of say, okay, come along. Okay, let me ask for clarity, because you're in a different space. Right? So you got to hold space for the people coming sort of who are not on that path yet. So when you establish the clarity and the clarification, and you give that information to them, as well as take that information from them by asking, that conflict becomes less and less. See, your fear of conflict and confrontation, again, if you want to know the rooted issues and all that, go back to yesterday's or the one right before here, and you'll have a lot more clarity on it. But if you understand that and you're able to ask for these things, the confrontation, A, becomes less scary. B, becomes like, oh, okay, I love this communication. Communication is the key. It's the key to your inner peace. I mean, not the key, it's a key to your inner peace, to good relationships, to healthy relationships. And quite frankly, if someone's always combative, then you understand that that's a them issue, and then you can set distance. And maybe it is. Maybe it's so bad you got to find another job. Maybe that's it. Maybe you got to get out of a relationship, or maybe you just need them to have a minute so they can process it. You don't know that, and to anticipate it going in, you don't know how they're going to react, and that's not your problem. It's not your problem. If they're short-tempered and all of that, that's on them. But your lack of clarification by either asking or providing them to you, you are creating your own issues within yourself. So regardless if you like it or not, think about how much better that would be if you asked for clarification and somebody was able to provide you at least a different view. Again, it doesn't matter if you like it. Doesn't matter if you like it. Doesn't matter. But you'll have a clarification on what it is that they mean, what their perspective is, and then that's up to you to do with it whatever you will. So the moment you ask for the clarification and you start gaining it and you start providing it, you're going to find that it's less stressful for you, and it's less stressful for your relationships, and is not as problematic, like I said, even for your own mental health. And it gives you a path to start really practicing your communication and to have open communication. And the open communication that you have starts to establish what it is that you will and will not allow around you. So I want you to start there and say, okay, I'm going to do this scared, because there's no space that you gain confidence and then do the things. That's not how that works. You do the things that creates a self-confidence. We'll talk about that next in the next video, because it's really important, because you're going to have to face these conflicts in order to have confidence about your communication skills. You don't do it the other way around. And yeah, we'll jump into that on the next video, but I'm really, really supportive of you, and you can do it. And it's okay if they don't like it, and it's okay if you don't like it, but at least you have the clarification. So that takes away one big piece of that overthinking throughout the day and the night, all night long, losing sleep over the fact that you had no idea what it is that they meant. So let's do this. Let's start having the hard conversations, because guess what? You can do hard things.